Good evening. I am Adventure Argonaut. This is the golden news, starting late today. So let's get to it quick. But of course, before that, I have to verify that my streams are functional. Before we can get to the news, see, Kick, Twitch, Rumble. Even Twitter. So far, I already cancelled my premium subscription, but it's still gonna take bit over a week before it expires, because it sucks. Twitter sucks, so I can't stream there much longer, which won't really make a difference. But hey, okay, Rumble is working too, so everything is working. Let's get out the Kick chat. And put it here, and this one here. Okay, think then we are sort of good to go. Okay, so let's go to US Pedo Imperialism, which is of course about Greenland and Venezuela and all that stuff, and who Trump and the current establishment are protecting, of course. So let's see. Republicans against Trump questioned. The premier of Greenland said today, "We prefer to stay with Denmark." Trump, well, that's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is, but that's going to be a big problem for him. Democracy, bringing democracy, was when I was a kid, that was the excuse for US imperialism, but I guess that's too, I don't know, subtle or something. So this guy Brendan Ivan Supercock or whatever his name is, I can't say this enough. I'm a proud Republican, have been my whole life, and I have literally watched the presidency devolve in front of my eyes. It's an embarrassment that this man leads our party and country. Greenland and Denmark are free nations with self-determination. Well, I would put an asterisk on that. I expect this kind of behavior from Putin, not from United States. It's nice to see at least some blah 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 stand up against this. So, well, no, this is the kind of behavior that United States does, but it hasn't been this blatant usually in the past. European Union to suspend trade deal with U.S. following President Trump's tariffs threats. So I don't know if they are actually suspended the trade deal, or it doesn't really say which sort of trade deal. Is it all trade deals or certain trade deals, or are they planning to do it? Did they do it already? Officials from Greenland and Denmark are now in the White House. Well, that was almost a week ago, but they were in the White House. I mean, Trump's push to acquire Greenland, and it's not subtle. Trump's reported offer is larger than Denmark's entire GDP. This isn't a negotiation between allies, it's a hostile takeover pitch dressed up as diplomacy. So yeah, he's still what do they? Why is he so desperate to gain access to Denmark and Greenland? And some people have pointed out that Denmark is a NATO country, so they would basically have access to Greenland, in case of a war against Russia or something. So why are they so heavy-handed about it? Or is that even the true goal, or is it I don't know, some sort of diversion tactic? I really don't know, but it's just weird. So yeah, Trump announces 10% tariff for Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, UK, Netherlands, and Finland. Suomi mainittu torilla tavataan from February 1st, increasing to 25% on June 1st until a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. Now, this is what what's his name? Rossman. I forgot his first name, but the YouTuber, the guy who used to fix computers and apples and stuff. He said that this is the rapist mentality, that we're gonna make a deal, and just you better find a way to agree to the deal. Joint statement by Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and United Kingdom. So what does it say? As a members of NATO, we are committed to strengthening Arctic security as shared transatlantic interest. The pre-coordinated Danish exercise Arctic Endurance conducted with allies responds to this necessity. It poses no threat to anyone. We stand in solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark and the people of Greenland. Building on the process began last week. We stand ready to engage in a dialogue based on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity that we stand firmly behind. Tariff threats undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. We will continue to stand united and coordinated in our response. We are committed to upholding our sovereignty. Okay, that sounds a bit weak and stuff, but at least they say, like, yeah, I don't know, support Denmark and stuff. America is the new Russia, but it's like, I'm just wondering, like, if this, if there's really gonna be some sort of bigger conflict between U.S. and the rest and Europe over Greenland, like, so how about the war in Ukraine? Like, as this is Europe still gonna, do this proxy war in Ukraine against Russia as well, or is there gonna be a peace with Russia soon? I wonder what's gonna, like, I don't know, like, Europe is truly retarded, but at least, like, now they are I didn't think they are doing the right thing, but probably for the wrong reasons in opposing US in this, but still, I don't know. Well, I'm just glad to see them sweat, but I still don't know if this is some sort of, like, a play on our behalf. When President Trump says acquiring Greenland is a strategic necessity, he means it. Okay, there's lots of text. I'm not going to read all that. Kim.com asks, help me understand, isn't Denmark a NATO member? So if Greenland is part of Denmark, an attack on Greenland by Russia or China is an attack against NATO and would trigger Article 5. So why does the US want Greenland? Yeah. What Trump says doesn't make sense. Help me understand. Yeah. Because he's been saying, like, China or Russia is gonna take over Greenland if they don't. If I don't steal it first, they will. And Germany deploying soldiers on Greenland. NATO divorce begins, but it's like, I heard somewhere else that next day they sent the German soldiers back, but I don't know whether that's true or that's just memeing or what, because of the tariffs, but might be. And there's another claim that I'm not quite sure how trustworthy this is. The entire oil industry has rejected the oil stolen from Venezuela by Trump. Trump is reportedly depressed, left to deal with his own mess alone. The U.S. oil companies are openly refusing to reinvest in Venezuela's devastated energy sector until they are certain the regime will not confiscate assets against or threaten workers' safety. API Director Mike Summers put it bluntly, there will have to be some key conditions to meet if we want investment to flow in. He said it is far too early to predict when companies will return, as nothing in Venezuela's legal framework guarantees workers won't be driven out or infrastructure won't be stolen again. Even industry leaders who have tolerated years of political maneuvering are saying the same thing: no reform, no investment. Then comes the split. Over the weekend, Donald Trump publicly suggested that ExxonMobil should be completely banned from Venezuela after its CEO declared on Friday that the country is unviable for investment right now. But some Maya insisted that the entire industry is unanimous on one point: major structural change must occur before anyone goes back to work. This is the hypocrisy we see time and again from Trump's inner circle. They attack corporations for describing reality, then pretend to be the responsible adults in the room. The American people are tired of this authoritarian arrogance disguised as economic strategy. We're done getting reckless, heavy handed politics, threaten workers, investors, entire nations for nothing. Even corporate oligarchs are now beginning to realize that Trump is just as much of an idiot, reckless, and failure with a double digit IQ. See, when you put it like this, maybe it's like maybe this is some 4D chess that Trump is playing here for, I don't know, for exposing what, but it's like it does sound like it could be true, but then again, it sounds like a sort of like a TDS sufferers, something they would come up with because, like, Donald Trump still has very many haters who hate him irrationally, as he's had for the past 10 years. Like, there's many legitimately reasons to hate Trump, especially, nowadays. But I do think there are still people who really, don't understand that and make up stupid shit to shit on him. And I don't know whether this is part of that or not, or whether it's legit. French President Emmanuel Macron urges the EU to activate its strongest trade defense tool that never before used anti coercion instrument in response to President Trump's renewed tariff threats linked to Greenland. So, what's this Corbomite maneuver from Star Trek? If deployed against the United States, the measure could severely restrict American companies' access to European market. This might include blocking US banks from EU public procurement contracts, targeting major American tech giants with restrictive measures. The anti-coercion instrument was specifically designed as the EU's ultimate economic countermeasure against external trade pressure or blackmail, and this would mark its first ever activation. Release the Kraken or something. Um, on Christmas Day, just 3 weeks ago, Trump posted that more Epstein files were coming out, which would implicate Democrats, and 2025 would be their last Merry Christmas. Now we found out Trump's DOJ has filed a lawsuit to prevent the release of the files. Sick of the BS. So yeah, this is one reason why I called it the U.S. Pedo Imperialism, because uh, despite all the hoorah and the gung-ho Americanism from some people, it's still the pedos, the Epstein clients in charge. Like, it's not the regular average Joe who's gonna benefit from whatever conquests America might do in the next few years. So yeah, talk about one of these people like Grams. I don't know how much he's paid to say make Greenland great again, and basically shilling for Trump here. It's like, like can you somebody explain to a non-American, like, why should I support in like annexing Greenland to America? Like, how is it good for anybody except like the most jingoist imperialist Americans? And it's like, and like I said, it's not gonna be Joe Average who gleans the benefits from it. It's gonna be the ones with all the money and power already, and the corporations and stuff, if anyone's gonna gain anything from it. And here Korobochka says it wasn't Europe that created or spread feminism, it was America. Well, created, I can't say whether America created it, but certainly, in the last wave, in the couple of last decades. That's certainly America. It wasn't Europe that created and spread homosexuality. It was America. Well, that's true. It wasn't Europe that created and spread trans psychopathy. It was America. It wasn't Europe that destroyed the family. It was America. It wasn't Europe that flooded the world with migrants and refugees. That was America. Well, that's certainly true. It wasn't Europeans that voted for the current neoliberal order. Well, sort of. It was as well. It was the manipulation by America and the destruction of the Soviet Union that these governments were put into place. It wasn't Europe that empowered the Judeo-Satanic demons since 1940s. It was America. Well, that's true. And UK. America has been nothing but a thorn in the side of Europe, and its time is correctly labeled as an enemy, not a friend or even neutral. Although, like, he leaves out one relevant word here, Israel, of course, and well, Israel-related people. But certainly, America has been a very powerful tool for them for the past century or so. This is an oldie but goodie. His dad is now 30 days into hiding their release with every day breaking the federal law he was forced to sign. So Donald Trump Jr. said in 2023, "Show us all the Epstein client list now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags?" Ask yourself this question daily and the answer becomes very apparent. Yeah, it's very perceptive here, Donald. Um, so never mind of the Greenland question, Candice Owen says. If I wasn't aware we built an underground nuclear missile and military site there. When it comes to a government, it's always about war. So Camp Century was a secret US military base built under the Greenland ice sheet in 1959 as a part of Project Iceworm to test the feasibility of deploying nuclear missiles from the Arctic. Though missiles were never deployed there, the base, which included a nuclear reactor, was abandoned in 1967 with the assumption that snow accumulation would bury it forever. But climate change is now causing the ice to melt, threatening to release its buried waste, including diesel fuel, PCBs, sewage, back into the environment. The site also yielded a crucial ice core that provided scientists with a long-term climate record. So I wonder whether this place had simply, the nuclear test site for deploying nuclear missiles, or maybe there was something else. Like it sounds like a good sci-fi movie. They did some experiments. They dug too deep and they thought it was all buried, and now it's coming to surface. So yeah, I'm just thinking there's probably some sort of mysteries in Greenland that we're not really told about or in the surrounding areas, and that's why the US government is so interested in it. Ted Cruz said in 2016, "We're liable to wake up one morning and Donald, if he were president, would have nuked Denmark." Weirdly prescient. I wonder if he knew something or if he was just saying it randomly.
We need someone with judgment and the temperament to keep this country safe. I don't know anyone who would be comfortable with someone who behaves this way having his finger on the button. I mean, we're liable to wake up one morning and Donald, if he were president, would have nuked Denmark. That's not the temperament of a leader to keep this country safe. We need.
I wonder what Ted Cruz would say about Donald Trump today. DOJ is now arguing that no court can force it to release the Epstein files. Their position is basically the Epstein Transparency Act doesn't create an unenforceable path in federal court, so judges can't compel compliance. Translation: we'll release what we want when we want, and you can't stop us. So what does it say? The yellow parts. Respectfully, the government submits that the court lacks the authority to enter the requested relief. when the Constitution or laws of the United States do not support the cause of action. Okay, the act does not provide a cause of action because the statute does not uh, evince Congress to create the private cause of action asserted. The court may not create that action through judicial mandate. I love legal mumbo jumbo. Uh, I don't know. It sounds reminds me a bit of like the sovereign citizen stuff. Like I'm not walking here. I'm ambulating or something. Uh, the remains of the bodies of the 32 Cuban soldiers who were killed in the American attack on Venezuela have arrived in Cuba. The bodies are no longer in full coffins, but in small boxes containing torn apart body parts, indicating Washington used deadly and internationally prohibited weapons that crushed the bodies and turned them into fragments. Like, did they vaporize them like in piles of ash or something? It's weird. Like, is that really what happened, or are these for show for some reason? Like, were these paid by the US to make their weapons look more badass than they are? Or I don't know. This is just weird. It's like some sci-fi shit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Trump says that the US should not hold midterm elections this year. When you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election. So I don't know if this is taken out of context, but it sort of reminds me of Keir Starmer, and he clearly has no qualms with Keir Starmer because he hasn't arrested him or did regime change there, whereas in Iran and some Iran and Venezuela, he's very adamant on that. Just noticed I should log into Rumble in my chat, so to see it properly. Just a moment. All right. And okay, now we are cooking with gas. Okay. So Gene Trevino. Should I know who that is? Like the name sort of seems like it rings a bell, but I might be mistaken. Now we know why Elon Musk has been kissing Donald Trump's asshole again. On Monday, January 12, 2026, um, Pete Segat, the Secretary of War, announced that the US military is officially moving forward with integrating Elon Musk's Grok into its military operations. Isn't this one episode of Terminator? The Pentagon is, or the game, the movie War Games. I actually saw it again during the Christmas holiday. It was on TV in Finland. But now I'm back in Hong Kong. Anyways, the Pentagon is paying ex-AI Elon Musk's AI company up to $200 million for the integration of Grok into military systems. None of these fuckers care about national security. All they care is about enriching themselves off the backs of hardworking American taxpayer money. So I wonder now, like, if I use Grok to do stuff, will it somehow be used by the U.S. Military for something, or like I don't know if you can bamboozle Grok somehow. Can it affect their military systems? Pam, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, this past week, at the request of the Department of War, the Department of Justice and FBI executed a search warrant at the home of a Washington Post journalist who was obtaining and reporting classified and illegally leaked information from a Pentagon contractor. The leaker is currently behind bars. I'm proud to work alongside Secretary Hegseth on his effort. The Trump administration will not tolerate illegal leaks of classified information that remain reported pose a risk to our nation's national security and the brave men and women who are serving our country. And Godfrey here says, whoever leaked this information from the Pentagon to Washington Post, journalist Hannah Nathanson is likely tried to prevent World War III. This person was a hero, and we must never forget them. Those people high in government who know something is not right, that we might be on the brink of something horrible, now is the time to speak. For if you wait too long, it may have been too late. Yeah. And Donald Trump's spiritual leader, Robert Morris, has just been sentenced to only 6 months in prison for sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. 6 months only. At least he's going to prison. That's something. So we are ruled by pedophiles, hence the pedo imperialism. And I didn't know who Robert Morris was, so he's some televangelist megachurch pastor. And already, yeah, so he was from the year 2000 until 2024, he was in megachurch. When he resigned after being publicly accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl in the 80s. Okay, so it happened in the 80s. Okay, interesting. And then he was indicted last March. But yeah, here is, and his relationship to Trump is Morris served on a 25-person evangelical executive advisory board to Donald Trump's successful 2016 presidential campaign and hosted Trump at Gateway Church in June 2020. Morris attended the September 2020 Rose Garden ceremony at the White House for the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. After the sexual misconduct allegations, a spokesman for Trump stated that Morris had not had a role in the Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. No, he should have. He should have a bigger role because he's clearly an expert in the matters that Trump cares about. Um, Chinese Ministry of Defense spokesman earlier, the USA is a war addict. The history of the USA is 240 years old, but the USA has not been at war for only 16 years. I guess I'm gonna take their word for it. I didn't check because it sounds credible. The US has also built 800 military bases in 80 countries, regions around the world, where the US, wherever the US military machine goes, people suffer. Like, of course, he's not saying it just for altruistic reasons, but is he wrong? And just in the US, Mint suspended all sales of silver products. This is unprecedented. So, dear valued customer, we maintain transparency and positive customer experience. We are reaching out to share an important update. Did you metals cost pricing adjustment for being evaluated across all numismatic products? In addition, rapidly rising silver prices may result in silver numismatic products being temporarily removed from sale while pricing is updated. We are working especially to update blah blah blah. Yeah. So, and some people are saying it doesn't mean they suspended all sales of silver products, that it's only numismatic products, whatever they are, like something to do with money, right? Yeah, for us, just numismatic, and yes, the mint has had periods where it temporarily hold its size of silver due to lack of supply, but I still say that it might be relevant that this thing is happening now. Don't know about silver markets and shit like that, but maybe this is another sign that they might be heading to war. I don't say holy shit to prop up my post when it's something stupid and I need to make it look big like everybody else. It's warranted here though, good God. So the US Defense Secretary says Grok will be integrated into Pentagon's internal networks. And somebody asks Grok, do you think it's a good idea to integrate yourself into the Pentagon? Simple yes or no. No. So even the AI knows that is gonna go haywire. Uh, Ursula just showed her hand. Ursula von der Leyen just went on camera and declared that Greenland belongs to Denmark and NATO, directly rebuking President Trump. Let's translate that. This isn't about Greenlandic people. This is about Brussels panicking because Trump is exposing the Arctic power game. Greenland controls the northern missile corridor, Arctic shipping lanes, rare earth minerals, and the gateway to North America. That makes it one of the most important strategic territories on Earth, and Trump said the quiet part out loud. If the US doesn't secure it, China or Russia will. Von der Leyen's response wasn't to protect the West, it was to protect EU control. Like, okay, I guess I sort of agree that von der Leyen only cares about EU control. But I guess who actually cares about Greenland being independent? Greenland, maybe, but not even Denmark. Uh, she wrapped it in pretty words about NATO unity, but what she really meant was Brussels gets a veto over American security. That's what this is about. Trump isn't breaking the alliance. He's breaking the illusion that unelected EU bureaucrats get to decide the future of the Arctic. Um, well, Trump is still sort of breaking the alliance, but I guess he's pointing out this what sort of people these are. Maybe Greenland is not a Brussels bargaining chip. It's the northern shield of the United States. Well, no, it's not that either. It's not part of the United States. And the first time, and when America took Alaska, they paid for it, or California and stuff. And I think it was more consensual. I may have to check me on that. Maybe I'm not an expert on those purchases, but whatever. The first time in decades, America has a president willing to say that Ursula doesn't hate Trump because he's reckless. She hates him because he won't let Europe freeload on American security while selling the future debating. Okay, this is just bullshit. Like, Europe has not been freeloading on American security. America has been subjugated by America since the end of World War II, at least. Uh, oh yeah, now we have some Fuentes stuff because Fuentes is one of the new, spokespersons for the U.S. Pedo Imperialism. So Epstein was my boy, dude. Let's be honest, Jeffrey Epstein was cool as fuck. Go ahead, cancel me.
Big Head sent $50. Mom just validating. The beard mocks. Thanks for starting earlier than my bedtime. My Epstein opinion evolved from hearing your perspective.
Blah blah
Girls
blah.
have no guidance, no self-worth.
So true. Thank you very much. W. Epstein, look, I'm on my villain arc, okay? Sometimes you gotta be the villain. Epstein's my boy, dude. Let's just be honest. Epstein was cool as fuck. There, I said it. What are you gonna do? Go ahead, cancel me.
So, like, I guess, like, there's a kernel of truth because, like, deep down, every guy pretty much wants, except if you're gay, like, their own illicit harem of young women to do what they please with. That Epstein sort of had. Of course, Epstein's harem, many of them were a bit too young and stuff, which most men probably wouldn't want. But it's like there's that aspect about what Epstein's life was that speaks to people, although it wasn't simply about Epstein's own proclivities, but his clients and stuff. But like the counter argument, of course, to that is that most people also have like some self of decency, morality, which is something that Fuentes certainly seems to lack completely. Like even though like some things might seem attractive to you or attract I don't know what word I'm looking for, but yeah, let's just say attractive to you is like there's other reasons why you shouldn't do it because it's not you're hurting others or yourself and so forth. The warmongering Zio transformation of Nick Fuentes has reached its peak. Fuentes, who should reshape his mustache to match his favorite dictator, explodes with tyrannical fervor, says his mustache does it mean Stalin? This is our world, and at the minimum, this is half. This is our half for us to have uncontested, undisputed dominance, military, commercial, naval, every way, shape, and form, and we will take what we are entitled to. We will take what makes us safer, richer, more prosperous. We will take what we want. Nobody can stop us. We'll do it again. I hope we do.
This is
So,
our world, and at the minimum, this is our.
yes, like this guy, he was supporting Kamala Harris in the previous election, but now he's all gung ho that that what Trump does represents him. Like, isn't that a complete 180? And are his followers really so dumb that they don't see it? Like, does he have actual real people following him, or is it all astroturfed? I really don't know because, like, Fuentes himself doesn't really bother me. He doesn't trigger me. It's the notion that others are shilling for him. Like I want like there's probably some people who are just too dumb to see it, but like I wonder whether the majority of because I've seen many tweets in the past few months just praising Fuentes for whatever stupid stuff he says. It's like, are those people that they're being paid for it, or they basically think that they're expected to still uh, promote Fuentes or what? I'm Bibish little bitch. I don't know why Hitler is there, but it should be Stalin. He likes Stalin. Um, Nick Fuentes claims Jeffrey Epstein's international trafficking operation should not be labeled pedophilia because it did not involve very young children. He says the victims were barely legal teenagers. And yes, I do think there's a big difference between if you diddle 4-year-olds than it's 14-year-olds, somebody who is presumably post puberty. Not saying the other is a good thing or a moral thing either, but there's still difference. But um, people have pointed out that the youngest that um, Epstein dealt with have been 11. Some even said 8-year-olds, and I would call that pedophilia. So it's good to have like nuance, like to look into the details, but it's still certainly Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking network had very pedophilic um, attributes to it as well. So either Nick got caught on tape, honeypotted with a kid himself, or he got paid millions by Israel. Well, I think it's almost the second part. That's a latter statement. Well, it could be the first one as well, but that's almost confirmed right now that it's being paid millions by Israel. If you still support this guy, put your tiny hat on and fuck right off. Yeah. Nick Fuentes claims Jeffrey Epstein's international trafficking operation should not be labeled pedophilia because it did not involve very young children. Youngest girls Mossad operative Jeffrey Epstein raped were 11 years old, according to official documents. And yeah, some people claim it's even 8, but yeah, it's like okay, perhaps his preference, like average preference, was a bit higher age than 11. Like it's still bad even if it was like 15 or 16, but he's still pedophile if he also diddled 11-year-olds. Nick Fuentes is now defending Jeffrey Epstein as not really being a pedophile, saying that they were technically not legal. It's important to know that some Epstein victims are as young as 8 to 11 years old. Yeah, here it says the 8-year-old. This latest disgusting position of Nick's comes just after mainstream PR tour defending the Fed slop Charlie Kirk narrative. Exactly, that's when I completely turned, quote unquote, on Fuentes when he started promoting the Mossad narrative. I mean, the pro Mossad narrative on Charlie Kirk, and that was obvious that he wasn't simply having an opinion that I disagree with, but it was his opinion was very fake and homosexual. Fuentes, once he turns 30, he'll probably find himself a 16-year-old child bride. Right when the milk is good, I want to start drinking the milk. Must be taken out of context, right? Well, but for Fuentes, he would want a 16-year-old boy bride, right? Anyway, let's distinguish between marriage and what's happening to on Epstein's Islands for a bit. Your great grandparents married with wide age gaps. That was fine, but the world was different back then. Feminism didn't exist as it does today, and neither did divorce. Then homosexuality brought the concept of consent, which was unheard of among healthy individuals. It was either rape, fornication, adultery, or two people who were married. Nobody would brag about consenting to sleeping around. Today, you prove need to prove consent in the context of a marriage, so the entire thing has already burned to the ground. Epstein Island is different. The victims aren't marrying billionaires. They're being corrupted, destroyed spiritually, and many of them are being sacrificed to Judeo-Satanic blood rituals. Attack Fuentes for justifying the latter. The former conversation is different. He's disgusting for mixing the two together, and it is deliberately sabotaging everything, likely because he's a homosexual. Yeah. The fact that Roybers are clipping this without realizing how disgusting he looks speaks volumes about Nick Fuentes' community. And this is a red operative Leninist, so Fuentes is making communists look cool, and maybe that's his plan because he liked Stalin so much. Fuentes gives controversial take on Epstein. Boom. It's not really pedophilia. They weren't trafficking 5-year-olds. No, but 11 or 8-year-olds or something. Oh, come on. It's too difficult for my computer to slide this. Let's close some tabs here. Why the fuck? This is just a freaking image. Why is it so, like, resource consuming? Anyway, Nick Fuentes, the problem with Epstein is that he's a Jewish spy, not really pedophilia. It's sort of, those two go together, sort of, usually, right? Okay, I'm gonna close this tab. If I ever regain control of my computer, I have to close this tab because it's, for some reason, big image just is too much for the browser or my computer to handle. Nick Fuentes goes off on the third worldist America haters. This is our world. At the minimum, this is how half of it. I read that already. So David Icke here says the curtains have opened on those who have claimed to be anti-system. One after another, we are now seeing who they really were all along. Here's an example. It's a bloke who demands America first when extreme MAGA is being driven by Israel and the cult to do its bidding to destroy its old order and impose the AI new. He also uses we as if he is America when those really running America see him as just another useful idiot selling their agenda to those who hang on his every tyrannical, barely one-dimensional word. It's further case that if he was told to put on a uniform and go to these wars that he eulogizes, he would immediately go missing until found under his mother's bed, ferociously sucking his thumb. We don't need influencers, we need knowledge. Nick Fuentes has received a 7-figure sponsorship from a company that sponsored Mark Lewin.
Nick's saying you're saying truly. When are you going to take the gold deal? I heard that was a big deal.
I think I'm gonna take it. Yeah.
I think you should.
What is the deal?
Well, it's just like a gold sponsorship.
Okay.
You know, there people are buying gold, and the reason why I have to take it is because it's Mark Levin's old sponsor.
Oh, okay.
So it's an old Mark Levin gold sponsor, and they said, I don't like Mark Levin anymore. I want to support you. So they're taking his deal and giving it to me. So otherwise, I don't think I would have taken it.
So this isn't just like a subtle way of admitting that Israel has bought him. Come on, man. And Nick Fuentes will be on Teamcast IRL with Team Pool tonight, so I guess that happened already. Or maybe it's happening right now, I don't know. So yeah, Nick Fuentes didn't sell out. Yeah, okay, keep telling yourself that. But let's move on. Finally, to another stuff that's still very much related. So this is U.S. dystopia. So still U.S. politics related, but from a slightly different angle. The ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good on January 7th in Minneapolis, Jonathan Ross, suffered internal bleeding to the torso following the incident, according to two U.S. officials briefed on his medical condition. So Adam Cochran says, bullshit, internal bleeding against non-pin moving armored individual would require the blunt hood of a car going 35 plus miles per hour. Renee was driving a Honda Pilot. It averages 3.5 to 4 square meters per square seconds. I don't know. This is on a 0 to 60 run. 2 feet away from the officer, it would reach 4.9 miles per hour max. Even at 10 feet away, it would reach 11 miles per hour max. Solid organ bleeding or rib fractures causing bleeding are not possible at those speeds, especially when wearing body armor. An abdominal wall hematoma, tearing his muscle while moving because he is old and out of shape, is possible, but if he disagrees, then he is more than welcome to waive HIPAA and release the medical report. But the math doesn't lie. Somebody, I saw another comment point out that, if he got a bruise, that's technically internal bleeding. So maybe that's what happened. I do believe that he probably got a bruise from the incident. So Homeland Security reminder to all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. Anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony. You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties. The Department of Justice had made it clear that if officials cross that line into obstruction, into criminal conspiracy against the United States or against ICE officers, then they will face justice. So can they, this is a bit like the ways this can be exploited are numerous. How this could go wrong if they have immunity. Hey, Stolen Hellcat, welcome to the stream. Like they just see a guy walking down the street and I think like, okay, this guy looks sus, let's grab him. And then, but he's a US citizen and they shouldn't have any um, jurisdiction over him, but he resists them because he's like, I'm not an illegal, and then they shoot him and it's like, well, they have immunity. Like, is that what it means? Like, ICE officers, so they have made mistakes, they have arrested wrong people and so forth, and we will have some examples of that. Trump DOJ will not take up any of Rand Paul's referrals to investigate Anthony Fauci, per the senator. Yeah, I thought Fauci was very, Biden's puppet, and Trump didn't like him. But yeah, it started under like the COVID bullshit when Trump was still president, and he allowed Fauci to remain in office and didn't sack him or anything like that. Uh, Trump said everyone is asking about the auto pen. What was done is totally illegal. Anything signed that way is of no further force or effect. The person who worked the auto pen had no idea whether or not Biden approved what he was doing. There was no order in writing. It was absolutely legal act perpetrated by the radical left insurrectionists who legally ran the Biden administration. Every one of them should be arrested for what they have done to our country. They didn't win the presidency, but when you think of it, neither did Joe Biden. The whole thing was rigged. There must be a price to pay. It has to be a big one. So, okay, you are the president now. You control the FBI and all stuff. Why aren't you arresting these people? Like, sure, they did. They should be arrested, but you didn't arrest Hillary Clinton, back in 10 years ago when you said you would be in jail, but you didn't. So why not? New Miami Beach police now flagging social media posts and sending police to homes of residents for posts deemed to be anti-Semitic. I don't know whether this is true or not, but it's like I can see it being true, and also is it ice that's going into their homes? Is that the part of their immunity? Insane. ICE Nazis kidnapped 4 members of the Oglala Sioux tribe, released one and can't locate 3 others.
So these are 5 Oglala Sioux.
There is nobody more American than Native Americans. We are America. How can you possibly target Native Americans? It's legally impossible. If this is true, that's a bit screwed up. Like somebody could make the argument, well, this is, America is for white people. Like, okay, then how about start with the illegal aliens? And these people are clearly at least U.S. citizens. And yeah, well, why are the other three like? Assuming this is true, like, of course, these sort of claims might be also BS because, of course, people also like making things up on the internet. But so far I haven't seen these so many arrests of Haitians and Somalis and South American illegal immigrants. It seems to be mostly American citizens that ICE is focusing their attention on nowadays. And what's going on at DHgov? So Nazis.us is brings to DHS.gov, like Homeland Security. Like, as far as I know, this is real. I haven't tried it. No, I'm not gonna try it online because maybe somebody's bought the domain and it contains porn or something. Yeah, funny. I wish maybe someday. It's like I don't think they're really Nazis. Like some technique they are using might be categorized as Nazi kind of tactics, but the Nazis were, for one, they weren't that fond of Jewish people, and the current establishment is very fond of Jewish people, and also the Nazis, they really liked their own people, the German people, but the current establishment doesn't seem to like American people that much either. So was this ICE ripped a woman from her car in Minneapolis after she blocked them from driving down the road. Then she begs and pleads for mercy. Jews are really running ICE, says chat. Well, yeah, I sort of looked into it last week that they're being trained in they are trained in Israel, at least some of them. But yeah, what's this? So yeah, she begs and pleads for mercy. You fucked around, now you're finding out. So what's this? U.S. citizen tries to turn down a street and tells agents, "I'm going to a doctor's appointment." Half the agents tell her to drive, the other half tell her to get out of the car. They try ripping open her car doors from all sides. She doesn't drive away because she just saw a woman get shot in the face 3 times for doing that. So she stays there and again explains to officers, "I'm going to a doctor appointment, I'm disabled." They shatter her window, rip her out of her car, arrest her. Nick Sorter and people like him post this video like it's good look for ICE because they love living in a fascist hellscape. They're tiny little men that love sucking cock of authority and celebrating militarized police violating the rights of U.S. citizens. They will be looked back on in history as the worst kind of people, even by Republicans who will inevitably separate themselves from the cult of this administration. Absolute fucking loser. So, if this is true, if this description is true, is this part of the immunity? Is this what they're supposed to be doing? Like, of course, it's possible Gino here is wrong, but so far I don't see any community notes. Deranged leftists who screamed pedophile protector at President Trump just got suspended from his job pending investigation. Dude ran crying to the Washington Post after Trump flipped him the bird and told him to fuck off. So yeah, Trump went to a Ford factory and somebody called him a pedophile protector and that triggered him. Everything at this point is distraction from Epstein. Yeah, also Epstein because like I think the rabbit hole goes deeper than Epstein, but you know Epstein is sort of like the lead to the rabbit hole or the entrance. MAGA at large has turned into exactly what they claim to hate about the left. It's about the most hypocritical things I've seen. Same communist cancel culture BS. Here's an example of that. Rooting for a man to lose his job because he exercised a First Amendment right is to protect a government official. It's just so gross. Yeah, especially since, you know, he's not wrong. Like the deranged leftist, quote unquote, was correct. Like, you know, back in the day, like if they called him, "You're literally Hitler," it's like, no, he is not literally Hitler. But it's like he is literally a pedophile protector. Trump administration quietly restored tens of millions of dollars to Planned Parenthood and other clinics in December, causing the ACLU to drop previous lawsuit, according to Politico. So, did Doge accomplish anything? I'm not sure if Doge had anything to do with Planned Parenthood, but certainly that was sort of like the kind of stuff they were supposed to do, right? Trump DOJ will not take any Rand Paul's referrals to investigate Anthony Fauci. Well, I read that, but that's because the DOJ knows Fauci will reveal that Trump was willing and active participant in the COVID psyop if they prosecute him. That's probably true. President Trump says there is no room for anti-Semitism in MAGA and that he is one of the most non-anti-Semitic people in the world. Well, I do believe this one, but that he said about himself. The heckler just made $500,000. The Ford heckler. I guess that's good for him. That sort of makes me wish I was American. Just, you know, do something outrageous in public and you know, become a millionaire or half a millionaire. ICE will quickly transform into a militarized ATF law enforcement officers using red flag laws to bring down the Groiblets. Lol. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is best news of the whole week. Podcaster Jar Jar Binks, ICE deploying rape canines, dogs trained to rape in Minneapolis. Western Crusader, Trump has gone too far this time. I disavow. Patriot mom. Go, go, rape them all. I will support ICE. DHS. Fake news. Agents have deployed none of their rape canines. This is genuinely the funniest thing I've seen on Twitter all week. We don't have free speech anymore. Yeah. If it ever really existed, but at least it was at least more free before Trump cocked onto rape dogs. Patriot mom stays winning. Okay. Seems like everybody is freaking out that Republicans continued the funding of a globalist NGO called the National Endowment for Democracy. I didn't. I looked it up. So it was started by two Jews and knew that the Jewish captured Republicans would do exactly what their paymasters wanted. So Carl Gershman, Allen Weinstein. Are you sure they're Jewish? Might be Korean. Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that a warrantless welfare check where police shot Trevor Case in his own home was justified in Case versus Montana. Apparently, police do not need probable cause to break into gun owners' homes without warrants and shoot them. So it's possible that I'm not gonna go into great details of this case. Like it's possible that this is somehow oversimplified or misrepresented, um, but that does sound dystopian. Okay, a declassified CIA MK Ultra document openly discusses drugging entire populations, substances placed in food, water, Coca-Cola, alcohol, cigarettes, even vaccinations to slowly induce anxiety, hopelessness, tension, and depression over time. This isn't a theory, this isn't fiction, it's real government paperwork. This is only page one, read it again. So, yeah, it's not like that's happening though, right? Right? Okay, see you later, Stolen Hellcat. No problem. Just yeah, have a good one. Yeah, yeah. To go. Trump's weird Marie Antoinette themed furry party seems awfully symbolic. So yeah, this is in. Maybe I should start with this. This is in Mar-a-Lago, or was in Mar-a-Lago a few days ago. Party. So what's going at Mar-a-Lago, MAGA? Is it secret society of pedophiles or gay liberal furries grooming the next Tyler Robinson? Yeah. So Trump's Mar-a-Lago. So the Marie Antoinette themed furry party seems awfully symbolic. During the French Revolution, when Queen Marie heard her people were too poor to afford bread, she supposedly said, "Let them eat cake instead." Basically, she was rich and out of touch. However, the monarchy was overthrown soon after. Then Napoleon became emperor. According to some esoteric researchers, all of this was by design, though. Apparently, Freemasons and Jews orchestrated an uprising to destroy tradition and religion. So it is pretty much like just basic history that Freemasons certainly, well, there were many Masonic influences in the revolution, like, liberté, égalité, fraternité. Those are Masonic ideas. Like, doesn't necessarily mean that the Freemasons somehow orchestrated the whole thing, but certainly they influenced the revolution. Anyway, so is this what is happening now? Are we in the middle of another Masonic Zionist revolution that will allow another emperor to rise up? Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So Trump hosted this party at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know. It's like symbolic of something. Like the dogs. Are all of them dogs? Are there other animals they're dressed as? Okay, some people look like they have normal clothing. Trump is a furry. Maybe he is. But of course, when I saw that, I was reminded of this. This is the Rothschild party. I think it's from the 70s. Like this is more I guess, classy and occult. I'm not saying that, this is good, but it's like at least they're doing this. This is just cringe, but even the bad guys don't have aura, as the youngsters nowadays like to say. But I think that's the last. Yeah, okay. Let's go away from America for now and go to some other place. Yeah, so America is not looking good nowadays. So more German Greendartation. I'm trying to make it into a word because a green retard. So let's have a look. German authorities forced Lexus to turn off the parking heating in Lexus cars just when it got cold and people needed it. Imagine you bought a car and paid for a specific features, but the government just turns it off because it's not green. Just reminds me that when during Christmas holiday when some leftist terrorists shut down the power grid, and then old people and cancer patients were forced to wait outside while the refugees were evacuated, or the migrants rather. So they're using the cold against the German people again, like the establishment and the environmentalists. Anyways, I'm not joking. Toyota used remote access to turn off the preheating, which is used to heat up the cars before driving. You would turn it on 10 minutes before driving somewhere, and so your car is warm and de-iced already. Toyota spokesman Ralph Mueller, the pre-air conditioning is a free function of My Toyota app or Lexus Link Plus app. This function is still available for all pure electric vehicles and plug-in vehicles. For vehicles with conventional drive, this only works when the combustion engine is running. The legislator considers this an unnecessary running of the engine or an avoidable exhaust gas pollution, which is prohibited. This is not known to many users. In Europe, there is no uniform legal situation about which we have informed with a corresponding note in the app. In order to protect the vehicle user from fines, we had deactivated the function on these vehicles. Like two levels of bullshit here. Like first there's the government deciding this from others, and the other is that that the company can even disable it. Just imagine the car company disabling your brakes or something, or I don't know, like disabling the function to turn left on your car. Come on, like, why is this even possible? And just think about, like, I really wish someday to see, like, hackers hacking these functions and screwing with people's cars so people can actually begin to see how egregious and dystopian these sort of functions are in cars and other kinds of devices or property, that you don't control it, you don't own it, you know. Oh, nothing, be happy. Okay, let's see what's next. Charlie Kirk is a time traveler, supposedly, allegedly, maybe. So let's have a look. What's this BS here? So Candice Owens is now pushing that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler and that he had agents, yes, like the Matrix, monitoring him from childhood, and that he was killed because he tried to disturb space-time continuum. No, I'm not kidding. No, you're misrepresenting the case. Let's have a listen.
Homies and text messages. And again, why did Charlie think he was a time traveler? He said, as I showed you in earlier messages, that he was a time traveler and he had to find me. Is that just something people are saying to their homies in text messages? And again, not anything that I would have placed so much emphasis on back when he was saying it, but it came to fruition. The other parts, he did die young. Why did he think that him dying young was necessary in order to change things?
Okay. So the point here is that it's not that Candice Owens is making the claim that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. It's Charlie Kirk himself who made the claim. However, the claim was probably in jest or something. So here, entire system melts down every time I tell the truth. I'm ranking Project Looking Glass as one of the most consequential episodes we've ever done. Don't know what that episode is about. So Candice claims Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. She's insane. She's psychotic. Correction. Charlie Kirk said he was a time traveler. So yeah, I'm gonna assume this screenshot is genuine. So I guess Candice said I'm an alien, and then Charlie responded, I think I'm a time traveler. This is my home, but I think you found me and time traveled with me. So I don't think he means it literally. Like either he's just joking around because he's bored, or maybe I've felt like I'm born in a wrong time myself. Doesn't mean that means I think I'm literally sent from a different time period or something to this one or anything. And I don't think Charlie Kirk here meant that. He's sort of like being cute, as they would say. And also, I don't think that Candice Owens is saying that I'm an alien. I presume this is Candice Owens. Whoever it is Charlie's talking to, it doesn't mean that they're actually an alien either. So it is sort of grifting, I guess, from Candice Owens, in my opinion, that um, that she is, sort of suggesting that Charlie Kirk thought he was a time traveler. Then again, I'd allow her the leeway to speculate that perhaps he wasn't joking, perhaps he was being genuine here, and maybe he actually did think he was a time traveler. Like, if she only talked like few minutes on this matter, it's okay. But then it's like if she made like a whole stream on this topic and discussing Charlie Kirk being a time traveler, that's a bit like stretching it too much in because you could talk about more relevant issues, like wasn't she supposed to like talk about the Egyptian planes that were supposedly tracking the Kirk family or something. I don't really know what's the latest info on that. um so yeah, it is sort of like I think the people who are they're making a mountain out of a molehill, like trying to make it sound like Candace is crazy for saying this, but I do think Candice Owens is a bit milking just some random comments that Charlie Kirk did. And this is from, if you're seeing this, I'm probably dead, Charlie Kirk, 2011.
It just started. Hold on. If you're seeing this, I'm probably dead. Hey, good to see you, man. Hey, who's that? Oh, I want to see.
Well, this is true, but he is just being funny. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else about it, because yeah. But hey, still, I do allow people the leeway to speculate on seemingly outlandish things, but like, it is good to perspective and don't go too far off the deep end. Okay, let's reload this. All right. Oh yeah, and then there's this weird stuff with Charlie Kirk's wife. Real Photoshop video with Erica Francois Kirk takes a creepy turn after her photo of as a sniper on the roof at Fort Huachuca in a military assassination movie she starred in resurfaces. You can't make this shit up. A photo of Erica Francois on a roof with a sniper rifle from the military assassination movie she starred in. She's quite the actress. Yeah, it's weird. Not gonna analyze it deeper, but yeah, that's weird. And this is also very weird. Symbols branded on the back of Erica Frances Kirk's hands are very similar to the brands put on victims of sex trafficking in the United States that came to prominence in the 2000s and 2010s. If we had media worth shit, they would be asking her about these. So they do look a bit weird. It's possible they've been altered somehow here. But yeah, I don't know about these brands. And yeah, so this is the picture where this taken. Yeah, it is a bit sus, like, but yeah, I don't know this sex trafficking brands or anything. But so what's your favorite sex trafficking brand? I like uh, Coke. I don't know, Coca Pedo. Erica tries to push Tyler Robinson trial. Erica Kirk's attorney filed a motion to pursue speedy trial for Tyler Robinson despite forgiving him and Tyler waiving his right to a speedy trial due to the scale of the case. This is unprecedented. Why is she desperate? Yeah, curious. I don't know. Well, that's that. Let's move on to other stuff. And that's Israel delenda est. Israel has to be destroyed because with Israel around, we can never have any sanity in the world or anything like that. So let's see what sort of news, and I have to change browsers. Okay. So the coach on the Israeli judo team started a brawl during a tournament in Poland where he beat up the referee because he was unhappy with the referee's call. After getting disqualified, the Israeli embassy is crying anti-Semitism. They got community noted. So we are deeply concerned with the violent incident yesterday against the Israeli judo team, which was attacked and verbally and physically during a competition in Bielsko-Biała in Poland. Blah blah blah. Video proof showing violent behavior of the Israeli coach for which the team was disqualified. The entire tournament was live streamed and no evidence of violence toward the Israeli minors has been presented. Can be watched on YouTube at Judo Results by Pex. Okay. So once again, these people making lies about their victimhood. No news, nothing new there. So why am I even talking about it? I'm supposed to be talking about news. At the Jerusalem prayer breakfast held at Mar-a-Lago again, a rabbi is seen blowing a shofar, ram's horn, a ritual. Okay, let's stop the video because we're slowing down. So, ritual instrument historically associated with biblical warfare, conquest, and divine mandate. Mar-a-Lago, and by extension the White House, is considered conquered territory in a spiritual political sense. Whatever one believes religiously, this raises serious questions about the fusion of religious symbolism which calls for war and how openly conquest language is now being used in elite political spaces. Even when I'm not looking for Jewish power, I always seem to bump into it. So what's this? Christian Bale was paid the absolute minimum salary to star in American Psycho in year 2000. The amount was so low that the crew literally laughed at him. So Christian Bale accepted a low salary for American Psycho because he genuinely wanted the role, needed money at the time, and faced significant opposition from financiers who only wanted to make the film if they could pay him the absolute minimum. Okay, that technically doesn't say anything about Jews here, but perhaps. Ciudadano Israel es detenido por entender fuego al del interior Parque Torres del Paine. Don't really know what it says. CNN Chile confirms Israeli started massive forest fire. Every Zionist scumbag propagandist on this app was calling this an anti-Semitic conspiracy. Never let them shame you or intimidate you with that smear. It's a badge of honor. Yeah, so Israel started the fires in not only like Argentina but Chile as well, I guess. Not Chile in Chile anymore. So there's some Jewish man here, Yuri, Israel. Moral of the story: you fuck with Jews, you lose. So this is, I guess, Gaza, showing it before and after the, bombings. Yeah, so Ken O'Keefe points out there is no genocide. Anyway, here's a satellite view of that genocide we committed. Exactly. You should have zero sympathy for these people. When justice comes, just, rejoice. A woman makes contact with nutritionist regarding diet plan. Doesn't hear back from her. Woman calls nutritionist, accidental pocket dial. Nutritionist doesn't pick up, call goes to voicemail. Woman doesn't speak, no voices can be heard. Nutritionist claims she hears gunshots in the voicemail. Voicemail makes nutritionist feel unsafe. Woman charged with anti-Semitic hate crime. Nutritionist is Jewish. Yes, this is real. This is so fucked up. So where is this? Is this Australia or something? Yeah, I guess, yeah, it has to be Australia. So retarded if true. Russian authorities are investigating the death of 9 children at a maternity hospital. The tragedy took place on January 12th in the city of Novokuznetsk, allegedly due to massive infection. All doctors are being investigated as the usual suspect, Israeli or Jewish, may be involved. Things like this are openly reported in Israeli media, but why is it completely ignored here? So we reported tonight on Channel 14, foreign actors are arming the protesters in Iran with live firearms, which is the reason for the hundreds of regime personnel killed. Everyone is free to guess who is behind it. So yet again, Israeli media is willing to report and admit what is basically taboo in the US. Israel's Channel 14 revealed that foreign actors are arming the protesters in Iran with live firearms. That is why hundreds of regime personnel have been killed. I wonder what the US Gov would do if a foreign adversary were arming US protesters who began opening fire on FBI agents and the National Guard. Yeah. Same old tricks. This should be a monumental scandal. At the exact same time that Netanyahu flew to DC to convince Trump to launch another attack on Iran, Israeli officials were in Russia giving secret guarantees that they wouldn't attack Iran. Then Israel activated its armed Mossad agents and Zionist dissidents and sent them out to the protest to stir up trouble. Now do you understand why all of the Z influencers have been demanding that Trump and only Trump must intervene to save the protesters? So yeah, Washington Post. Days before the protest erupted in Iran in December, Israeli officials notified the Iranian leadership via Russia that they would not launch strikes against Iran if Israel were not attacked first. Iran responded that it would also refrain from an attack. So yeah, they lie. What surprise. I'm shocked. I think Adam here says, I think Trump canceled the planned bombing of Iran because Iran has handled these riots better than anyone expected. Israel 100% thought that this was the end of the republic. They polluted Iran with tens of thousands of Mossad double agents and assets. They activated all of them for this. But Iran has found a way to not only to stop them, but to identify them and shut down their entire network swiftly. This is catastrophic for Israel. They didn't think Iran was capable of this. I look forward to Mossad agents in Iran being hung. There will be many executions. If I was as bloodthirsty as the average Zionist, I would say strap their dead carcasses to missiles and send them back where they came from. Iran keeps beating the expectations. of the Zionist imperialists and the Z imperialists keep underestimating Iran. Regime Chan's operation is officially a failure, and more of the world is waking up to how disgusting, racist, bigoted, and blood hungry the vile Iranian monarchists are. Mhm. I didn't know that the Iranian monarchists are supposedly bad. But if they're in cahoots with Israel, then it's a different story. Okay, but that's all from Israel. Well, almost. Let's move on to the last segment, to the gaming and entertainment and IT crap kind of news. So let's see what we find here. This man claims he's stuck in France in year 2055 and no one can debunk his videos. For years he's uploaded clips claiming he's trapped decades in the future. There are no people, no traffic, no sound, but the power is still on. Vending machines still work. Stores are stocked entirely with PlayStation 7 games, a console that doesn't exist. One vending machine has one bottle of soda left inside. The date on it reads April 2055. The product itself has never been seen before anywhere. Then reality breaks. He films the Mona Lisa from inches away. There are no guards, no alarms, no tourists. Same thing at the Eiffel Tower. Empty, silent, frozen in time. He started posting these videos before AI tools existed. So if it's fake, why hasn't anyone proven how? If it's real, where did everyone go? Well, even if AI didn't exist, still, video manipulation techniques existed. These videos are from a fictional TikTok series started in October 2022, depicting an empty future Paris with added effects like PlayStation 7 games. The creator's caption stated it's a fake situation, confirming it's a hoax. Well, yeah, it's obvious. But, it's interesting, I guess, which is why I'm discussing it. Yeah, but yeah, you only need some sort of skills to hoax pretty much anything. Like, I don't know how they were faked all of this. Like, the bottle, did he actually produce the fake kind of bottle, or is it somehow digitally altered yet afterwards or whatever? But I think this is, good reminder just to be suspicious of anything you see online. It may very well be a hoax. Okay, the paranoid schizophrenics win again. This supply crunch will be an excuse to get normal people on a thin client that connects to a cloud computer. China, please save us with cheap and plentiful DDR5 storage and GPUs. Sadly, I bet the US will just ban those components. So what's this? Jeff Bezos said the quiet part out loud. Hopes that you'll give up your PC to rent one from the cloud. Amazon's Jeff Bezos once revealed how he thinks the local PC hardware is antiquated, ready to be replaced by cloud options. Will DRAM prices make it come true? You will own nothing and be happy. Oh joy. OpenAI is in the red, and at this rate will run out of money by 2027, having overestimated the profitability of AI. You just have to, make the AI rob a bank, either literally or figuratively. Recent analysis and internal projections indicate annual losses of around $14 billion in 2026, following roughly $8 billion in 2025. This stems from overestimating near-term profitability as high inference and data center expenses continue to dominate despite strong user adoption and billions in revenue. Without repeated massive funding rounds, analysts warn the company could face a cash shortfall as early as mid-2027. Oh no, so sad. I guess they should also make a deal with some government and the military, like Grok. as if they haven't already. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey is shaking things up again with a new messaging app called BitChat. What makes it interesting, it works without mobile data or Wi-Fi. Yes, no internet at all. BitChat sends messages directly from phone to phone using nearby device connections. With that means people can still communicate during internet shutdowns, network outages, emergencies, protests, and in areas with poor connectivity. It's private, resilient, independent of big networks and centralized systems. Just another reminder that innovation isn't always about faster internet, sometimes about removing the internet completely. Technology keeps evolving. I love this one. Sounds great. Like I don't know whether the theory is gonna work or is it gonna have a backdoor that's still gonna spy on you somehow or what, but I'm intrigued to know more about this. BitChat, the name is quite boring though. Should be more like bitch chat. Bitch cat. I don't know. That's lame. Former BioWare producer Mark Dara stated that Anthem still had working local server code in its development builds as late as several months before the 2019 launch. This means offline servers existed and could theoretically be recovered from old archives if anyone at AI or BioWare chose to pursue it. Dara believes the odds of EA approving such a project are extremely low. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, dead game is dead. Unless there's, I don't know, like hackers or something somehow leak the code. So this is about Brown Dust 2, like the game that was first they said they're not going to be censored, and then suddenly they said, well, yeah, we're going to censor the game, and when the potential players complained, then they promised to uncensor everything except that one country that asked them to censor the game. So the game will be censored, otherwise it won't be. So when the update went live, the censored players who live in Israel were complaining about censored game, and so according to this Discord user, it's because of Israel. But I have to go boil some water. I'll be right back. Not much stuff left, but be right back. Okay, let's try to get this done quickly. So yeah, don't know whether this is accurate. And I heard another report saying that country that wanted the game censored was Germany. I think both are believable culprits. Uh, some uplifting news. Man that was arrested over manga images of child abuse allegedly branded as 2 while traveling to New York Comic Con from Ireland had all his charges dropped. So that's good. I reported this whenever it happened a few months ago. And yeah, some people said that it's not even illegal in Ireland what the images he had, so it's weird why he was arrested. Star Trek cadets are now required to get DIA training from an obnoxious lesbian. Yes, this is real. All right.
The name of this cadet. Being a cadet in Starfleet Academy means being open to the people around you. And that connection is where time and space really live.
I don't need connection.
Yeah. You're a genius who owns all the suffering. I only know two things, kid. Number one, old age and treachery always triumph over youth and a smart mouth. Oscar Wilde. Love that dude. Fun fact, when he died, they had to put glass over his tombstone because people kept trying to make out with it. Number two, a smart mouth isn't worth a damn.
I don't know, it's just very obnoxious. Like, I like old Star Trek, but the new Star Trek is not Star Trek. It's like, you put lipstick on a pig, is still a pig. Disney has delisted several games on Steam, like classics like Phineas and Ferb, New Inventions, Disney's Hercules action game, Afterlife, Toy Story Mania, Disney Winnie the Pooh, and so on. But hey, now they're abandonware, right? So you're free to download them from the internet wherever you want. Surely you won't get into trouble, right? Disney Star Wars has been an abject failure in every respect save one. It's now canon that the galaxy is run by a bunch of gay, lesbian, non-binary, they, thems, minorities, and women when things begin to fall apart during the High Republic. When the crisis reaches a fever pitch, it's almost exclusively straight white men fighting to restore the order a bunch of 100 years later, only to get more gay, lesbian, non-binary, they, them, minorities, and women to take charge during the post-imperial era and turn the new republic into a failed state. Good point, or good observation. And the CEO of Facepunch, Rust Charisma, publicly offered Amazon $25 million for New World. Gabe should Devon die. I wonder if he's from Greenland, because New World refers to America, so sort of ironic. And Reddit user. Okay, this takes a while to read. I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, this is last story. Reddit user claims that they figured out what causes Monster Hunter Wild's performance issues. It's kind of wild. According to their investigations, owning more DLC is more FPS. And this is due to an aggressive check the game does to see what DLC you own. It's not intentional by Capcom, but this is constant check causes performance dips. The user created a mod that tricks the game into thinking you own all the DLC and noticed immediate improvements. All information has been sent to Capcom support. The same user has already helped Capcom solve a performance issue in Dragon's Dogma 2. If this is true, it's quite retarded. Who the fuck is coding these games? But that's the last news article of the week, so I don't know. Don't have anything else to add really. So I'm Adventure Argonaut. I thank you for watching and bye bye.